Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the SuperNova Astrology Update for January 5th through 12th, 2026. Happy New Year. What a powerful journey into this new year. The numerology of 2026 adds up to a 1, 2 and 6 is 8, and another 2. And so then you're at 10 and drop the 0. So on that leap into the new year on 111, incredibly powerful energy representing the start, something new. And so it's this confirmation in the numbers. No matter how much our calendar and all this is messed up, it's like, here we are. And 111 represents the start. 321, 123, let's go. So very powerful energies, and this is absolutely reflected in the astrology because we know we have Saturn and Neptune back in Pisces. They're direct now. There is no stopping the awakening of the new world, of the birth, of the dream, of the original dream. This is the important thing she just really is harping on right now. It's really the most important thing for us to understand. It is not required of us to figure it out or create it or make it or fix it or any of that. Because it's all recorded in the original blueprint, which is also in us. But every attempt has been made to corrupt and disconnect and distract us from this direct connection to our calendar within. So this is a whole reset for humanity on a massive level. It's the picture of how the Mayan calendar is in concentric circles, right? And so when you're in this part of the calendar, there's just kind of happenings, astrological. And then as you get to this part of the calendar, there's all of these astrological happenings. You are here. And so it's really, really powerful to be present with you, supernova souls, and energetically connected through these times. A beautiful journey of those holy night meditations. Those ended up being a synopsis of lifetimes of work. And the biggest gift I feel like I bring is the intuitive training of supernova souls being able to learn how the technology in their own field and to hold their energy and their vibration and create their boundaries and understand what our potential for light body and the steps to get there. We don't really remember consciously, maybe, but we know that our soul psyche remembers. And so we're preparing. And so then I did the Owning Your Energetic Field. That was a synopsis, kind of a shorter, more direct version of the intuitive training. The goddess activation also has the intuitive training in it, and it's around owning. It's for men and women, but it's like owning your creative power that's available within you. So it's good to do some intuitive training work first to really get the most out of the goddess activation, but they all stand alone. And so then this holy night meditations just ended up being a culmination. All these things could come through because there's been a group of us supernova souls working on these holy nights together for the last few years. And so a new live version brought forward all of the contemplations of the supernova field, and so beautiful. So for $100, you can get all that. And the link to sign up for those holy nights is not too late to take advantage. It's not in the holy nights anymore, but these are 12 meditations designed to consolidate the past year and prepare for the year ahead, and your whole incarnation and this whole evolution is what we found. So you can do them, I think, anytime in the month of January, and you can really still feel into the energies of those holy night meditations. So thank you so much for being a part of those, bringing your energy, your contribution. I deeply appreciate you on the team. So basically, for every video that I come to do, there's always this kind of, well, did I get the concepts? Like I have to kind of work through before I can really sit down. They're kind of like has to overcome it. You know how it is every time you go to a class of mine and all that, right? The preparation. And this video completely different. You know, the energies that I felt that I had to resolve before I could sit down and do this video, it doesn't have anything to do with what the astrology means. It is completely clear what the astrology means at this point, and I'm excited to talk that through with you. But I just wanted to say that to recognize and acknowledge this incredible alignment that's happening in the astrology, where it's like you can't really argue about the meaning of it. And so, but what does this really mean for supernova souls? And all this time, the supernova information started coming through 2014, 2015. And it was like I was doing past life intuitive readings, and every reading there'd be like a little bit of a piece more of the story of the supernova soul. And I chose that name as an umbrella term for all of the star seeds and indigos and crystals and whatever you want to call it, you know? All those that feel that we were born on the wrong planet, although it's the right planet, it just got taken over and we're here to take it back, and it's so beautiful. And so, anyway, just we kind of had all this information come through about what is a supernova soul. And the main definition is that you've had prior experiences before this earth evolution, right? So you're already initiate, already an evolved soul before this earth evolution, your participation here. Not that you're not connected from the beginning to the end. You know, no matter how many incarnations you've had here, supernova souls were there from the beginning of the conception of Mother Earth and her beautiful dream of what she wanted to become as an ascension planet. She has not yet fulfilled this dream. Have you yet fulfilled the dream within you? Do you even remember what that is? Because incredible forces have been designed, everything, this whole matrix system is designed to keep you, supernova soul, from knowing and remembering who you are. So this means that everyone around you potentially is been co-opted in that system to play this role. But guess what? Newsflash. It's working opposite now, because what happened on 111 and what's happening now, because we still have, we've got 111 on January 10th. We've got 1111 on January 11th. And this is when it all comes together. We're bringing all parts of ourselves back together. We are no longer, as the consciousness of Mother Earth and human bodies, willing to allow our resources and our technology to be co-opted. So this is exactly what the astrology has been telling us with this epic Jupiter square Chiron, Jupiter and Chiron retrograde in Aries. Chiron in Aries, Jupiter in Cancer. Where is the mother? Where is Mother Earth? Where's the loving? Where's the nurturing? Why? What is going on? We know we live in an abundant world and we're abundant, but what's being shown to us is great scarcity and a lot of uncared for beings, which is not Mother's way, you know? So we're reaching this great discrepancy, which is when the tables turn. And it does feel like whether they've totally flipped or they're flipping right now around these 111, 111, 1111, it's very powerful. Maybe we want to talk about 11 because 11 is a number of standing off. It's like the Twin Towers. The Twin Towers is like the perfect in its beauty, the perfect balance of masculine and feminine. You know, it's like Jesus and Mary Magdalene standing there. And so, but 11 is also in the world of duality. It became a battle where we're trying to protect the precious oneness, right? And the duality of this consciousness and the adversary that comes along with that consciousness. So 11 is a battle number. It's a standing your ground. And because 11 is also a gateway into a whole new reality. So 11 is about standing up to whatever is gatekeeping you, you know, or transforming that energy into a portal forward. And this is the total message from Mother right now of the flipping of the tables, the turning of the tide means that it is not enough for us to say, hey, don't co-opt our technology anymore. We have to actually co-opt their technology, which is our original technology. Take back our territory of Mother Earth, which means everything that's been created must come back into alignment. That the technology that exists and is used in this realm is in alignment with the life-giving, life-serving properties of Mother Earth herself. And this is really important because we are being totally gaslit in this moment with a luciferic spirituality that's saying, oh, whatever, we all die. You don't need your body. And we all must, whatever we're sending, and you might die, you might live or whatever. And it's like, don't you dare fall for that, supernova soul, because you know you're not attached to your body, but you also know what you went through to get this glorious body you have. And we have age regression. We are aging backwards by healing ourselves through this toxicity. Do not give up on your most precious, beautiful form because it is a representative of the astral body. The physical body is just a meat suit. It's a reflection of the work we've done over many lifetimes. These bodies, our whole evolution has been on Earth, has been about trying to create, and this is what's also co-opted us into nefarious programs. But our goal as supernova souls has been trying to create that perfect vessel, the body, temple, that can host Christ consciousness. Now, it's difficult to understand and see as you walk through the land of the Western United States and understand that these were beautiful, gorgeous temples that have been destroyed in Atlantean time. There's been an attempt to destroy any memory of our temple, except for that Rudolf Steiner showed us that in the destruction of the physical, the etheric can get stronger. So the temples live in the field of Mother Earth. And was that what was activated by Yeshua coming and demonstrating publicly the private initiation rituals that were only meant for the few? And he brought it to the whole world. That's what he did. And so was that ultimately an activation and a reawakening of the ancient temples? That destroying them does not make them go away. Ignoring the truth does not make it go away. Part of the energy of the beast matrix system right now is a continual arguing with the way you see the world, right? Like, oh no, you're crazy. And that's kind of the end game for targeted individuals and people who are dealing with that kind of stuff. It's like you can feel that the forces, a crazy person comes into your life, makes you crazy to get you to finally put your boundary and act crazy so they can call you the crazy one. And this has been used as a tactic for a long time, many generations in those insane asylums, And so we know that we're not the crazy ones. But, it's hard because if we did speak our mind to most people, we would sound that way, wouldn't we? And we've held back so much. Supernova souls, we've held back so much. We've been so restricted in what we can say and do and be and exist in this world. And come April, when Uranus moves back into Gemini, the song of the mother will be heard throughout the land once again. The chords, the instruments are being built and the strings, tuned, and the tune will be played. And there will never again be a time when you feel like the people around you don't want to hear what you have to say, think you're crazy for thinking it, and want to keep you from knowing who you are in order to continue to feed on your precious juice and light and energy. This is it. If we knew who we were, then we would stop feeding the beast. So the biggest thing of this whole flipping the table, turning the tides is just us knowing who we are. And that's exactly the astrology. And it all started with the grand water trines, right? That was the sun, all of our personal planets coming in with Black Moon Lilith and Jupiter and Saturn in Pisces, right? And it's like, let's turn the wheel of time. Let's get the truth. Let's figure out what's really going on here, right? Because you can destroy the temples and erase the history and burn the books, but it's written in the Akashic records. Oh, no wonder they don't want us to access our very own Akashic records. So, all of this is really kind of bringing us to this place of that Jupiter square Chiron is this standing off place where it's like a fight to the death for Mother Earth, and that we are done fighting. We are just claiming her back and overcoming the need for a battle of anything outside of ourselves. We know that duality is a force that was created through deep separation in order to help us get back to knowing who we are. Guess what? It's getting super rare to know who you are as source. To even know that you are source and be connected to that. Really rare. That's why there's vampires and lizard people everywhere around you. But it doesn't matter because you got your force field coming on. And that's the gift of this astrology. Because the planets all coming together in Capricorn this week is an integration of all parts of ourselves. And isn't it interesting that Venus stands alone? I mean, we have Black Moon Lilith, and Black Moon Lilith but that's not a planet. It's a spot in space, right? It's called the apogee, the furthest away that the moon gets from Earth. It's like a black hole, and that's Black Moon Lilith, deepest, darkest secrets, and often around feminine, or our relationship to the feminine, or to our psychic or intuitive abilities, or persecuted as a healer, all that kind of stuff. So then there's all the asteroid goddesses, and they're feminine. But Venus stands alone, And so we know we've been putting our feminine back together, but the myth is that Isis puts Osiris back together, the masculine, right? So that's interesting because the way these planetary configurations work out with these conjunctions, I mean, I draw a little chart of how the planets are interacting with each other, in my notes, and it's just so poignant and so clear and so concise and direct, this astrology this week. And just don't miss this golden arrow, we've been told, from the planets coming into square with Saturn and Neptune. What is our reality based on the past Piscean age and what is coming, how we want to reclaim the miracles and magic of the Piscean age for the Aquarian age, and each of our aspects of ourselves and folded back into that timeline. Then a square with Neptune. And Neptune, our dreams and delusions, also rules the Piscean age back in Neptune to help us get out of the Piscean age and reclaim the miracles and magic. And so it's the dream, and the original dream, our spiritual path and purpose, and what has clouded it. So all of our personal planets coming into that configuration, and that was December, all month. All month we had squares. January, all month. We've got the planets coming together. At least they're together for this one, And so it means that we are putting ourselves back together, integrating, getting out of those old stories. It doesn't mean that we forget them, but it's almost like these, when you're stuck in the trauma repeat where we've been, of like the repeating, going around and around in the eddy and the marble trying to make it through the hole. When you do have that shift out of that, it feels like a whole different, like you're walking on different ground, right? It's like you just stepped into a whole nother reality. So it's not that you don't remember or that didn't exist, but it doesn't have any room to bloom again into your new realm. It's like, oh yeah, that was a whole nother lifetime in a way, Can we give ourselves this permission? And we made it through, and we can kind of reconcile our earthly life this far and forgive ourselves for our mistakes and stupidity and like giving ourselves away and whatever we've done. That we supernova souls have just a tendency to beat ourselves up, but can we just forgive ourselves and be like, and see it as a previous incarnation? Because we've talked about this, that supernova souls, it's like we live multiple lives in one lifetime because we're making up for what's been stolen from us. Maybe that's why we've had to wait so long to get these karmic pieces. It's like we weren't quite ready, and the universe couldn't align to get the people in our lives to clear up these deep, hidden, last nitty-gritty karmic pieces. And so that's been a big part of this part of these last few years, and that reflects the astrology as well. So it's powerful that the personal planets all took turns after the water trine. Then they came into square with Saturn and Neptune, like weighing in, saying like, all right, where are you at with the old new timeline? Where are you at with the old new dream? Like, can we do this? Can we make the leap? Can we reconcile? Like, is it too seductive to stay in the old energies of parasitic transactional realities? Or can we move into something new and different, like abundance and support for what really matters? And so that's this place, this golden arrow place we're at, this parting of the seas. The water trine, and then in Sagittarius, they were in square to Saturn and Neptune. And then there's a little break before they come into the T-square with Jupiter and Chiron. The fight to the death for the life of Mother Earth. And it sounds dramatic, but Aries is dramatic. We have to kind of understand this. The Aries is like, okay, so one of the messages really coming forward is that life, and Bruce Lipton showed us this in his work, that the signature of life, which is the signature of Mother Earth, like the pattern of the program, of the blueprint of biology, is that life fights for life. Going back to this Luciferic New Age, just, give up your body now, we're just get on the spaceship. Let's let the aliens save us. It's like, no, we've worked too long and too hard for this most precious vessel, and do not allow the forces to co-opt it for one more moment. Aries is the rebirth of man. So we're birthing into that Adam Cadmon, the original pure embryo, the Davidic line. This kind of Jesus in all of us, right? In the potential of the human embryo. And so it's like what's happening right now is a activation of that divine potential within man. It's ours. It's always been ours. That's what we've worked on and lived for every single lifetime. And the whole world wants to tell us that it doesn't matter and it's not important. So we're coming down to it now. And it's time to put your cards on the table, is the message. The table's flipped. Put your cards on the table. Because Mother's dream involves you and your piece of the puzzle. So put down your cards, and this is this energy of coming into, so the grand water trine in Scorpio with Black Moon Lilith, and then these squares with Saturn and Neptune around the dream, the timeline, the past, the future, and then moving into Capricorn and coming into conjunction. That thing of like that Mercury and Sag coming out of retrograde, coming to the top of the mountain, arriving somewhere, and yet realizing it is too foggy to see the way. And you need help on the journey. And you end up tumbling down the slippery rocks, but then you find the path and your people. And so let's talk about the timing of this. This is the first conjunction of our personal planets is the Sun and Venus. And the Sun and Venus will meet up from the 5th to the 7th. And the way that all the planets move in in different speeds, and Mercury coming out of retrograde. Mars is slower, but he's been ahead. It's like, all right, there's an energy of compromise and collaboration, not to the dark side, right? But to the light, to the mission, to the purpose. Like, this is what came through the Edgar Casey readings, is that even the darkest, nastiest karma against people or between nations and on the battlefield, can be healed through those factions coming together to work on a project together in a future incarnation. And this is what the planets are doing, right? It's all these factions of ourself that we've been battling against, saying, hey, let's work together. This is pretty cool. The kaleidoscope of all we've learned in our God training. And we get to come together and share and grow. And, it's very beautiful. And so this incredible coming together, but just as they come together, exactly when they come together, they come into an opposition with Jupiter in Cancer, still retrograde, and then a square with Chiron. And Jupiter and Chiron just came out of the exact square that happened from the 19th to the 27th of December. But we're going to feel the effect of that square through the 18th of January. That's a very important day for some reason, really coming forward. That is the day that Venus, she's the first one to move into Aquarius. So she leads the way into the Aquarian age. We've gotten this message with her last retrograde cycle very clearly. But she is not the first one to meet Pluto. Because then after they make this intense square, then they're going to move into Aquarius and meet with Pluto. And that's like our final initiation into the leaders that we're meant to be in the Aquarian age. A complete overcoming of all fear of our own power, all the trauma programming and all that crap and all those stories are simply to keep us in fear of our own power. So it all goes away when we go meet Pluto. And he says, you made it to 3 degrees Aquarius. Congratulations. And it's like understanding why we went through the ego death we did. So we really can stand in the power as leaders. The other thing coming through around SuperNova souls, that we are on the cutting edge of spiritual ascension. Being there from the beginning, seeing her dream as an ascension planet, witnessing the birth of this glorious creature. She's a sentient being, our Earth. She wants to ascend with her children. Can we not let her have this and ourselves have this glorious moment with her? And so this is what the astrology is about. And so as a witness to that dream, to that imprint, right? It's almost like the grandmother or the guide, the relative, the wise man, the 3 kings that have a message and see, even though the spiritual child has to come in and be in the mundane life. But often there will be one person, a spiritual person, that sees the spiritual soul. Not all of us got the greeting with the birth chart. Most of us is like, oh no, you don't want to ever see that about yourself, right? Like Yeshua did. But there is always that figure that kind of holds that spiritual truth of who you are as a soul, no matter what you go through. And it's almost like going to meet Pluto. We have this now. We have the blueprint activated and we've had our ego death. So there's no manipulation of our power available anymore. We're autonomous and sovereign as beings, ready to represent Mother in the Aquarian age, which is about taking back her planet for what it was originally meant to be for, through a renaissance. You don't want to miss this. Right? Another thing around that voice, it's like, the Terminator gene, just like, oh, whatever, go to his light. Don't be attached to your body. It's just like, no, be attached to your body right now, because the masters that said they never would incarnate again here, that have completed entirely, have agreed and desire to come back into bodies. It's happening. And they don't really like it. They are resistant and rebellious to it, but they don't want to miss the party. You don't want to miss the party. Do not give up your health, your body, your psyche, your soul, your nervous system. And this is part of the energy that's coming forward right now for supernova souls. I feel this parting of the waters moment between the squares with Saturn and Neptune and the T-square with Jupiter and Chiron. It's interesting that that T-square happens with the personal planets with Jupiter and Chiron. Well, Chiron has turned direct. Jupiter's still retrograde. But the last exact square they had in December, they were both retrograde, right? So this is a different game. This is a different story. And all of our personal planets coming together, and they're huddled. And they're saying, we are going to stick together, keep warm during this storm. And we're going to face off against these forces, you know? So this is the powerful energy of this time. And in the story of, if we're looking at all these messages, that December was about figuring out and seeing who we really are. And this story we've gotten told from the beginning around supernova souls, that another definition of supernova souls is that at some point they go through a rapid awakening. Rapid. They go supernova soul. And the other part of that is that we are only a placeholder because we couldn't fully incarnate in this dimension, like who we are in our bigger self. So it's like there might be an argument, like the entity forces are like saying that like you need to move over so this other energy can come in your body, but that's false. It's you that wants to come in your body, your bigger, higher self, and only that. They are getting so seductive right now and so creepy. And we've got to stay really, really clear about the sacred vessel that we have been given, that we honor, and we stand with Mother as we clear our vessel. We make it autonomous only for her. The earth is autonomous again too, and her turtle shell is healed. No matter the calendar we follow, her etheric body has been repaired from the injuries incurred from the Atlantean catastrophes. And this is the energy of this. Now, we have been exploring this concept, like what does it mean to go, because, okay, so first, supernova souls, right, it's a noun, or it's just a descriptive phrase. You could call it supernova as a noun, or a descriptive phrase, adjective for soul, right? So supernova is just a supernova or a supernova soul. And then at some point the work shifted and changed, and it became like, oh, no, it's about going supernova. It's a verb, it's action or an adverb or whatever it is. It's like, and so we have to explore this. What does this really mean? Is it landing home this bigger self that hasn't been able to fully incarnate in this time, right? Is it, that awakening to our true identity, coming into our true self, like fortifying our field to activate and retain and access our soul memory from previous lifetimes? All of that could be true. But then there's this concept that I've come across recently from Carl Jung that talks about the moment when an empath, you could call, goes supernova. And this is the moment when that person that's been taking on and healing and fixing and just taking on the energy of other people and not even realizing they're doing it, and all the collective garbage collecting and recycling and all that. And at some point they break. And I wonder if this is really what it means to go supernova. And this is kind of in the collective consciousness too, like the moment that we figure out a little bit more of how much our money's been stolen to be used for very dark things that we would never, ever condone. Our own tax dollars. The anger, the rage, okay? So for the supernova soul, that's like, I've given everything away to everyone around me while I've taken on all their garbage. And they like that so much that they will continue to knock me down a notch, to distract me, to make sure to invalidate my ideas and my thoughts so that I can never, ever find my way as who I am. Because guess what? Supernova, if you found your way as who you really are, you would fire them from your life, right? You would release them because you don't want to give your energy away where it's not being respected and honored. That's not respecting and honoring Mother Earth, and that's all we're coming to what we need to do here. So if the people around you allowed you to know and see who you really are, then they couldn't continue feeding on you. And you wouldn't continue taking their garbage and having this nice, beautiful, sacred, safe space for them to hang out in. Our technology, Supernova Souls, has been co-opted, literally by the Beast Matrix technologies, but also by the people around us that might not be actual people, or they're having energies channeling through them. We don't know what's going on, but it's very strange, very uncomfortable, very creepy. But guess what? We only have a couple more weeks, 3 more weeks of Neptune in Pisces. And all that confusion, all that brainwashing, all that gaslighting, all the cult programming is going to fall apart into pieces. But before that happens, maybe we should work with this concept that's coming forward from Mother. In that we've been so angry and frustrated at the infiltration of technologies in our body without our consent. And this is a huge energy, right? That's the energy it comes forward with this, the supernova empath. It's like, and the turning of the tables in their field and recognizing how invaded they've been and fed upon energetically and spiritually, physically. And so there's just this incredibly powerful energy coming forward around this, allowing us to claim back that autonomy and take back all that's ours. So if you have this technology, and what we all do, the nanotech is everywhere. It's in food, it's in our water, it's in the air, it's in packaged foods, it's in every medication, it's in people coming off of their bodies. And so we all have been poisoned with nanotech, with material that acts like life, but isn't actually life. And then you have to ask, okay, where is it getting its life from? Your body, your calcium channels, which is basically completely dehydrating our bodies, creating a desert where there should be abundant water. So we must bring back the waters into our being, bring the waters to the desert. And so we've got to heal, and we've got to detox this, and we've got to understand how our technologies, our body, our consciousness has been co-opted. And then this message of like, yeah, we don't want that anymore. Like, detox, get rid of it, deactivate it, EMP, let's just get it like figured out. Like, I don't want to be controllable human with technology inside my body with implants. The medical field, which we're not told about, has the ability and is using, without our consent, biosensors that have been placed in our body through the nanotech. Because the nanotech is self-replicating, and it will grow into wherever it will find where it's like designed to go into, mostly the brain, but all through the body, the glandular system, and block all the centers with electromagnetic frequencies and messages that are not organic. But not only that, the medical profession can take their handheld device and access these biosensors in your body. Did you give consent to this? And maybe if you're going to the doctor to get help, where are the miracle cures from the nanotech? I don't see those. So you can go find the paper or the papers and all the research on this. Oh, miracle technology. We could do this. We could do this. Which means it's already been happening for a long time. And yes, like every other technology, it's been co-opted for evil purposes. So she says, if you have this in your body, do you know that means that it is from source too? Like it's being co-opted. Yeah, but it's all a part of me. And do you realize that the fact that it's in your body means that you actually have dominion and a direct connection to that whole technological system, which can be unplugged. But before we unplug it, maybe we should co-opt it, for mother's uses. How about all the nanotech in our body, instead of giving us false messages or receiving or doing anything like that, it's just emitting a very gentle Tesla healing frequency, right? Like a very gentle healing detox frequency that no healing crisis is required. Okay, so it's basically the biome, the optimal frequency of Mother Earth's resonance for healing and growth and life, right? And the body can do what it wants. But I'm thinking it might kick out those toxins, right? And leave only what's being used for good. Does that mean we can co-opt like all these underground places, like whatever's going on in Antarctica and the Bermuda Triangle and Greenland and, like these energies of the reverse false ratio, keeping Earth in the false time loops? Can we co-opt that technology too? Because this technology is in us. We have dominion and we are so powerful in our consciousness. And we've been focusing on getting rid of the technology, but I think that what if next time you walk by that tower, you just imagine that it's emitting healing frequencies like the bells. This technology can be used for good or bad. And that is the whole issue of the only way we're going to get into the Aquarian age and go meet Pluto on the mountain and be the leaders that we are. Say, no, we're going to co-opt the technology. That means, I don't know if, a lot of supernova souls feel kind of surveilled. We all are being surveilled and harassed. It's just a matrix system. But, you kind of feel like that they have this like constantly feeling observed thing so that you can never collapse into your own possibilities, And so if you're always being observed, this is the actual say, oh, they're surveilling us. They're trying to figure out what we're doing. They're trying to co-opt our personalities or they're trying to block us or just harass us or whatever. It's like, no, they're just observing us to observe us so that we don't have any other possibilities than what they can observe of us, But Mother says that those co-opted observers and harassers it would be really great for them to be reprogrammed to observe and harass and surveil and monitor each other, because it'd be great training to be a true human, to feel what that feels like, So can we co-opt this technology and with our consciousness as we have dominion, because we are the children of Mother Earth, it's her property, but because it has been without our consent placed in our bodies, that gives us dominion over all of the root of this technology. And you know what? The thing about the AI systems goes back to few algorithms. That's it. Pull the plug, get rid of the algorithm. And so can we go to the top of the programming, right? And change the root. I don't know what you call it, right? The root language to Mother's again. She gets it all back right here, right now. That enough damage has been done, huh? Anyway, we're working on a Declaration of Independence as supernova souls, a standing for humanity and saying, hey, this was without our consent. And that this is the great violation, going back to Atlantean time, of Mother Earth's turtle shell and her protective field and the rift that was created from those catastrophes, allowing for all kinds of manipulation of her children. That who knows where her children even are. Guess what? The essence of each soul exists. Even if you sent a clone, right? The essence, you can work through that person to get to the real source. And that is her message. I don't know. It always comes through with these things and I'm like, oh yeah. And then as I say it to you guys, I'm like, I don't know what that means. You guys are going to have to help me figure it out. And I know you will. So let's just talk through the timing of this very powerful parting of the waters, flipping of the table, turning of the tide. You know that the usury in the temple, our sacred vehicle and vessel, the usury, the co-opting of our energy, right? Going back to the calcium channels, and that the nano cannot self-replicate and build sensors and do all that without your energy. So we're giving consent by existing, I guess, because we don't know. And what happens when the regular everyday supernova soul, that's us, like, figures out they've been co-opted in their mystical, magical technologies to create drama and like just this whole nightmare. And it's just a deep rage that comes forward. And it's like, yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking crazy with this, So yeah, it took a little preparation for the video. So the sun and Venus coming together first from the 5th to the 7th. Now, these planets, because they all travel, they're catching up to each other and traveling at similar rates, they stay together for a long time. So the whole month of January, we've got our personal planets in conjunction. That is so rare. And then they'll travel, stay in conjunction. Like the sun and Venus will be in conjunction at 14 degrees, 15 degrees, and 16 degrees. So that's very powerful. From the 5th to the 7th and 5 to 7 numerologically. So that's very powerful. And then Venus will catch up with Mars on the 8th. And they come together at 18 degrees. And then the sun will catch up with Mars from the 9th to the 12th. And they'll be together from 18 degrees to 21 degrees. And then Mercury will catch up with Mars on the 18th. That's that powerful day. When the Jupiter square Chiron is over and Venus moves into Aquarius, and Mercury and Mars will be conjunct. So now we know why. So that is at 25 degrees that Mercury and Mars come together. The sun and Mercury Mercury won't catch up to the sun until the 21st. And that is the most powerful conjunction because they meet up at 29 degrees of Capricorn and they move over into 0 degrees Aquarius together. Now, the sun and Mercury is kind of the roadmap throughout the whole astrological year because there's 3 Mercury retrogrades. And so the pattern of the Mercury retrograde and the sun, like Mercury will come to the sun, go back over the sun, go away from the sun, and then finally make it back. And that is the moment we've been waiting for. And so the sun and Mercury come together on the 21st at 0 degrees Aquarius. And then Mercury will catch up to Venus on the 29th and the 30th of January at 14 and 15 degrees Aquarius. So it's interesting. Mercury and Venus don't come together until the middle of Aquarius. And so we've got these beautiful conjunctions all the way from 14 degrees Capricorn to 14 degrees Aquarius. Or maybe it's 14 to 15, and very powerful energies there. And so if Venus is the only chick in the group, right? Like of our personal planets, the sun is our identity, who we think we are. Could be ego, could be self-realization. We got Mercury is our thoughts, our mind, the way we see things, our perspective, how we put things together, how we communicate with the different parts of ourselves. And then we've got Mars, our warrior, our action, our movement, our fight, our getting things done. and making things happen. So those energies are all coming together around Venus, really. Venus is visiting each one, I guess, and integrating all these pieces. And then all those are all masculine energies, and they're integrating the feminine, right? So huge integration of feminine and masculine, all different personalities, right? A lot of us have gone through so much pain and trauma, this and other lifetimes, designed to create multiple personalities and like aspects of ourselves that can't be integrated. And so this astrology is saying this is now when you integrate back into wholeness. All parts of yourself from every lifetime, every dimension, every frequency, anywhere you're stuck out there, still trying to complete something from another timeline, right? Called home. Singularity. And all of this happening when they get to 20 degrees, which these conjunctions happen, for the most part, the ones before, Mercury gets in there, but it's between 14 degrees and 25 degrees of Capricorn. So at 20 degrees, I believe it's at 20 degrees when they come into opposition with Jupiter, and then a square with Chiron at 22 degrees. So it's mind-boggling how clear it is. It's like I want to tell you the story, but there's no interpretation needed. The proof is in the pudding. And this is kind of the world we need to move into, right? Saturn and Neptune and Aries, like, can we stop being so confused and manipulated? Or it's just so clear now. And that's how we want to live our life. Some Mother says, walk with me, breathe with me every step. It will become more and more clear in every situation, every moment, what is in alignment and what's not, and so much easier to make your way through these very confusing times. But that's all shifting. Neptune moves into Aries on January 27th. Right before Venus comes to Mercury. So it's like if Mercury's the communicator of all the other pieces, and then so it's when they come together that we really get the piece of information we need. And in the meantime, we will have had all of our planets, like we said, coming into conjunction with Pluto between the 20th and the 28th of January. So that last week of January, wow, so powerful in, okay, what are we going to do with the table? Right? Put your cards on the table then. If it's flipped, and we're co-opting all the technologies and resources back to the mother's way for our new renaissance, put your cards on the table. Like, what do you want to do with this energy? How do you want to move forward? Because 2026 is the year of the fire horse. It's so different than the snake. The snake is like kind of vulnerable and stuck, shedding its skin, becoming a new person, totally confused, not moving nowhere, right? But the fire horse is at the gate waiting, like Stockholm Syndrome. We've had enough of you. We're really ready to go now. And that's the meeting with Pluto, right? No more fear of our own power. And so the sun is the first one on the 20th to meet Pluto of January, Venus on the 24th, Mars on the 28th. Mercury on the 23rd, Venus on the 24th, and Mars on the 28th. So by the time they meet Pluto, they're all back in their regular order. Almost. Like, as far as, they are in their speed. Mercury will overcome and be in front of everyone. And so it's like, of course, preparing for another retrograde. You're like, wait, we just got out of that last one. Well, when the sun and Mercury meet, it means it's halfway to the next retrograde. And the next Mercury retrograde will be happening at the end of February to March equinox, and in the sign of Pisces. So water signs this year for Mercury retrogrades. And it's kind of like helping us gain the benefit of that grand water trine and the kite shape that's going to be coming as well. So Mercury will go into retrograde shadow on February 12th. So it's really only, a month away. Put your cards on the table, get things in order, make some plans, figure some stuff out in this chapter of alignment. it's finally time to look to the future or feel how things want to come together. Of course, she reminds us we don't know what it looks like, but we need to be conscious co-creators with her. We need to be not, we've been too much at the play and sway of external and manipulative forces, right? And now we need to be active participants in the dream. And that's what I think that Mercury retrograde in Pisces is going to be about. It's between 8 degrees of Pisces and 22 degrees Pisces. Powerful because we've got Chiron at 22 degrees Aries right now. And so very much powerful activation of the fishes and the ram. This is where, we've talked about how Saturn and Jupiter are our timekeeper planets. They come together every 20 years. And so when they came together in the time of Yeshua's birth, they were in the fishes and the ram. So that's what Christ consciousness is. It's like the leap between, that was the shift of ages, from Pisces to Aries. And the conjunction happened in Aries and Pisces with retrogrades, right? And so there's this mystery because that's the gap, the end of the zodiac and the beginning of the zodiac. So it's very powerful that we've got Chiron at 22 Aries, then that Mercury retrograde starting at 22 Pisces. And this whole season with our personal planets going this whole last year of 2025, 2026, not our personal planets, Saturn and Neptune back into Pisces, into Aries in the beginning of 2026, back into Pisces, and then back into Aries, right? So we had all of that. We had Mercury retrograde and Venus going retrograde together over the Aries point. Just continual activation. What is it going to be like for Neptune and Saturn to move over these points, knowing they're not going back to Pisces? Like, we're done with that. We're on a whole new level now. You can remember trauma, talk about trauma. You can write about trauma and help other people with it, but you don't, that just doesn't even exist in your world because you're up here on a different level of consciousness. And this is the energy of this week and this time and this new year is taking the leap. Why not? She says, it's a beautiful alignment, a perfect day. When on the 11th, the 10th and 11th, all the planets together and Mercury just a little behind, opposition with Jupiter, square with Chiron. So they're coming into a T-square and a cardinal T-square, which is starting at the beginning of the year. With that powerful full moon at the very beginning of the year and the 3rd and the 2nd in most of the world, Cancer full moon at 13 degrees, 2 minutes to start the year off. 13, a very powerful number. Mary Magdalene's number, the divine feminine returning. It's the rebirth of the goddess. And no wonder Venus is going to lead the way into Aquarius. Be the first. No, she's the second. Oh, she's the third to meet Pluto. So that's good. The sun will go. And then Mercury, and then Venus meeting up with Pluto. And Mars will come at the end on the 28th of January. The day after, so Mars doesn't meet Pluto until the day after Neptune moves into Aries. Wow. It's a brand new, fresh start. We can leave it all behind and yet integrate everything we need, right? There's nothing you need to let go of or get rid of. It's all about integrating in. And just the letting go of whatever's false. And that has been happening naturally and organically. So these T-squares is this definitive energy of our personal planets in the ring with the fight to the death for the life of Mother Earth. And so maybe it's a good time to co-opt their technologies, and get this train going the right direction. So very powerful that on the 8th this week, Black Moon Lilith will make it to 2 degrees of Sagittarius. This has been a big shift. Black Moon Lilith getting out of Scorpio after all of that drama is a hugely different energy. Black Moon Lilith now at 2 degrees Sag, where we can feel that energy a little bit more. And then this is all Black Moon Lilith and Sag is about uncovering the darkness that's been obscuring the true one quest that we're on. And that's to support Mother Earth and becoming her ascension planet. We just figured it out today. Very beautiful. And it's such an honor to be here. And it's going to be so beautiful and glorious to have these resources back, to actually be supported and recognized. And just allow yourself this process of like the need to have the space to write and process and find the support you need if you go supernova with some serious emotions and rage around how much your technology has been co-opted without your consent. And yet it gives you full dominion. So it's kind of like, say there's these drones or people watching you. This matrix is, there's these actors in the matrix of harassers and stuff like that. Or you could call them drones or clones or hybrids or something that have been co-opted to come and try to trigger you emotionally and stuff. And it's like, we've been trying to just be really aware and keep energies clear out of our field and stuff. But she says, you know what? You don't have to hide who you are, hide what you're doing, cover your tracks to stay safe anymore. Because you have the power. If they're drones, just say that there's like either a hired person or someone that doesn't know who they are, or maybe they're, more of like a robot clone drone or something coming and trying to trigger in your life. We've all had weird experiences like this, but if they come in your field, Mom says, they're now your property and you can put them to work for what you want them to do. Okay. So the energies that have come forward around this is kind of important for us to talk through. I don't think do I have the notes? Hopefully I'll remember. But there's 4 different ways that these forces have sought to interfere with supernova souls and their natural, organic, spiritual development. And so this is that we have been derailed in our timeline through manipulations with traumas and things like that. We have been distracted against our true purpose, and we have been harassed. All the health harassment is ultimately about harassing our nervous system so that we can never be at peace, so we can never create. And that whole observing and all that, just so we can never be at peace, we can never create what we want to create in the world. And they've kept us from finding each other. Right? We've been working at this for quite a while, and it's like the forces around keeping supernovas from seeing each other and working together because it's so powerful. I mean, imagine it. Like you're going supernova and then 2 of you, and that scalar wave of what happens. So it's like there's a lot of, monitoring of this situation. So anyway, if we're going to co-opt the drones and the technologies in the matrix system, then the reparations and the requirement of this technology and that whole system would be to correct those 4 points. Okay, so that we have timeline correction, support in correcting our timeline for ourselves. And that we have support in coming into our life's path and purpose. That natural support is allowed to come back into our realm. But shouldn't we maybe have a little extra support after all that's been stolen from us? And then our nervous system, healing for the nervous system of the supernova soul and of Earth and the vibration, right? That's the correction. That's like taking the towers that are creating terror and fear and, disruption, trying to disconnect our natural frequency vibrations, to now be supporting those natural frequency vibrations. Very important. The bells must be returned. And those bell frequencies could be throughout the land, through the towers. We know now that Nikola Tesla knew that we did not need to put electricity through the wires. And we thought, this is making the electricity go to the other place. Is the electricity system harvesting our own energy? Because now they've come forward with a technology that you can charge your own phone with your own body. And that the 6G they want to use, which I'm sure they're already using once they tell you, is moving it through our own body, our bone marrow. They're moving their data through our bone marrow. Mom says no, right? And that's a supernova. What if mom goes supernova? And it's hard because our whole thing of how we've been kept down is through fear of our own power, right? And you come into this power and realize how much power is within you and how much harm you could do if you had nefarious intentions. And then you step way back from your power. And so we have to manage this rage in a way that we can be productive with it, and that we can and use it to fuel the crucible fires, to burn away whatever's faults, and be like, you've been laughing at me while you've manipulated me and make fun of me, but the last laugh is on us, or is from us, right? Like, so this is what we're doing. And this is our proclamation and our declaration that all of humanity now, but supernova souls, we were infiltrated with nanotech way before everyone else. That's autoimmune disorders. And so it's very powerful. So know that this week we've got this incredible lining up. And then the lining up of these planets moves, they go into a T-square. They're coming together to oppose Jupiter retrograde. Jupiter retrograde is like the tide going out. Like, mother, where are you? Like, come on, we just realized that we need you and love you and you're us, and we went so far away from you, but now you're leaving. Where are you going? The tide's going out, And then this war and battle with Chiron and Aries, fighting for the wounds. Chiron is our greatest wounds, and in Aries, it's where we've given our life force away. So it's the fight to the death for the life of Mother Earth. And this precious, by surviving right now, we're choosing organic life. And this is a great mantra. Like, with every breath, I choose Mother's Garden, organic life in my own body, in my temple. It's my right. I did not consent. All consent is revoked. Not only that, but I have permission to co-opt your technologies the way you've been co-opting our technologies, because they're actually our technologies. So incredible lining up, and that the personal planets coming together, the face off in that T-square in Capricorn, right? Opposite Jupiter, the taking away of the mother, and in square to Chiron, the fight for life and life force. And so in Capricorn, all of our personal planets coming together is this autonomy, is this authority. If we can't put ourselves back together, we are never going to be able to have authority and autonomy, and they will rule our world. And that's what these technologies are harassing us with, ultimately, is like, we own you. And it's like, actually, mom owns you. And so let's see how that turns out for you. It's going to be fun and glorious and beautiful. And so let's co-opt back the technologies by just simply healing, seeing these healing frequencies, gentle and sweet in your body, and organic life being supported in the healing and detox, effortless, and this glorious coming back into a direct connection to source. We don't even remember what it's like to feel vibrant and alive. We have been so co-opted. And I know this about, I will not willingly give up this vessel and this body, this life force and this potential, until I can have a full expression of the life I came here to live. The earth will be co-opted back for this use. The red carpet rolled out for us, supernova souls. That we're the only ones that can be trusted with her abundance, and to disseminate the healing and the resources into the world. But we can't do that while we're, the thing about all these forces around supernova souls that are constantly trying to argue and negate and deny who you are and your power and what you know and what you have inside of you. Because if you knew who you were, then you would never feed them and you would never entertain them or give them the time of day. This energy of is really about us recognizing, that we've been thrown to the lions and we overcame. They didn't. They're laughing and watching at us, but we're in the ring with the lions. The lions will devour them. So keep this in mind as the strength of the Aries fire, this reawakening of the divine human potential comes online, connected to the life force of Mother Earth, the garden, us coming with gifts and resources and love and reverence to her, mutual reciprocity, to be able to work with her, to have her invitation to plant this Christ consciousness in her field. Consent, invitation, gentle, not coercion and control. Everything is coercion in this whole world right now. If you feel that coercion energy, then it's telling you that they want to take something from you. And you say no, and then they, make you feel emotionally like maybe you're just so selfish and you should really just, why? What's your problem? You should just give it over. No, we're not giving it over anymore. It's too precious. And mom says we can't do it and go to the next place. So this is this astrology. This is the parting of the waters. The golden arrow is you on your path, finally, totally, completely. And that means coming home as a warrior to Mother Earth in the organic, that we are in a fight. We are in a war for organic life. And let's just talk about it. Let's get real with what we're really doing here. Put your cards on the table. What's your piece in the puzzle? What's your piece in the pie of the table? Like, what's your gift and your offering that Mother knows you have? But, what do you want to work? How do you want to work with her? And it's all being revealed. Who we are, what we're doing, what we might need to complete. We're being put on projects to go clean up certain places on the earth. Follow it. The resources will be there. Don't worry. This is a time to leave it all behind, and trust her entirely and completely. And so tune into these things, that now it's like we're not playing by their rules and their game anymore. We walk where Mother tells us to walk. We go where Mother tells us to go. We live our best and most amazing life in truth, And so 2026 is a lot about us coming together in smaller, large groups, 2 or more, at sacred sites around the world with intention to love our Mother there. It's just not rocket science, is it? Can we stop talking about fake space now? There's a firmament. Nothing has ever made it beyond the firmament. The sun, the moon, and the stars, Nikola Tesla says, are a part of the firmament, meaning they're a part of us. And what we did in the holy nights, and we have the potential to do, is to take that sun that we see that's outside of ourselves, that we want and we desire to give us warmth and strength and direction, and bring it inside of our hearts to radiate from within. The true essence, that the sun is water. Mother Earth's consciousness is water. The sun is Mother Earth. It's consciousness in unity with the Christ consciousness. We're all getting married, and it's beautiful. Welcome to 2026. I love you so much, Supernova Souls, and I look forward to seeing you soon on the next update. Please consider being a part of any of the offerings I have or kicking down a donation. If this work has helped you, that would be a great help to me right now, and I look forward to seeing you soon on the next update and on astral plane, these beautiful castles that we're building again, that nothing true can ever be destroyed, and that's you too. Thanks for making it through all you made it through. You are a warrior rock star, and it's time to live like it. I love you so much. I look forward to seeing you soon. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.